the other direction the whole time.
Picture you watching them. I lived on that campus for 2 years.
Well, Marcel, you come out of the first 3 games, you guys are top 10 in sacks and tackles for loss and interceptions and takeaways, but the yardage number is probably not where you want it. So
Right.
how do you sort of reconcile those 2 things?
Just keep working. The thing is, I think every week we're just continue to get better and better and better each week. So, that's the one thing I think that I've been harping on as a staff, or we've been harping on as a staff, is just every week, just continue to get better.
Is there a little give and take in those regards? And I mean, are you seeing the big plays from this defense that you had wanted to? When you talked about going into fall camp.
Yes and no. The sacks were great. Still, I just think the main thing is for our football team just to be in the big picture, just discipline. I still see some guys not doing what they're supposed to do, or not being in the right gap, or not being in the right coverage that's being called. And so, I think as a staff, we're putting these guys in a position to be in the right place, and they're not doing it at times. For the most part, they are there. But, if you want to be dominant or be a good defense or a good offense or a good special teams, a good team, you need to do what you're being taught every play.
Football seems a good game dealing with adversity. You like
Right.
the way your defense has dealt with the injuries and some setbacks early on in the season?
I do like that. Injuries is a part of the game. You'll never hear me cry about, injuries, because it's a game, And so my whole thing is that the team we're playing against, they aren't going to care about who's being injured. So there's going to be a game on whatever night it is, and you need to show up and play. And so that's kind of up to us as a coaching staff to figure out, where we're kind of hurting at, and then we need to our scheme needs to be kind of off that.
Last week you emphasized that you needed to play better in the fourth quarter, win the fourth quarter, which you did.
Right. And it was good, yeah. We put emphasis every day as far as finishing, and I thought the guys did. I know our yardage was down by a lot, and if you look at the first 2 games, I mean, it was, a nice chunk of yardage was in that fourth quarter in each of those 2 games. So I thought they did a good job of playing hard.
What have you seen from Matt Boson so far, and has he maybe exceeded your expectations to this point? And how did you guys decide on the position change for him? What did you see that made you think that was a good idea for him?
He's a guy that goes hard every day. He's an edge guy. He makes plays. He's not the biggest guy, but, he has the biggest heart, I think. And so, he's a guy that has a good motor. Every play, he goes hard, and he's just an active football player. And so it showed up during spring ball. It showed up, and then during camp, he just kept doing it. So, he's a guy we felt like that had to play for us.
About Kamala, too. I mean, he's 2 sacks this last game, and Coach Harsin said something along the lines of when he came in this fall camp, he was just a different animal than he was in the spring.
He was a different animal. That goes back to 2 people. I think that's Coach Pitt and Coach Caldwell. I think, when you look at what they did with him over the summer, in his summer, and then you look at the way he's being coached and the way that, we kind of stay on him, and we make sure that he's doing what he needs to do. He plays with energy now. He's an energy guy. When I told him the other day that you got to be a special player to wear a single digit and play up front. And so he's a guy, that loves that 8, and I love to see him getting sacks wearing that number 8. So, he needs to keep it up for us.
When you look at Louisiana, what kind of stands out? I know obviously, that quarterback is preseason conference player of the year. Seems
Right.
like he can give you trouble through the air and also on the ground too.
No doubt. He's athletic. He throws a good ball. Once again, he runs their system well. They're big up front. They're very physical. They have some strong backs, so we're going to have to it'll be hard for us to get those guys on the ground. They run hard. They're not one guy in particular is not running to make you miss. He's he's running to hit you. So we have to have our pads on this week. It's going to be physical.
You look at the record 1 and 2. I think some people the Louisiana Tech game may have been a little bit of a surprise. But what have you seen from that? I guess as a whole in the 3 games, and do you have to let your guys know that they're not a typical 1 and 2 team? Or
They're not a 1 and 2 team. And they're I believe they went 9 and 4 the last 2 or 3 years, and so for them, the coach knows it. I think the team know it. We know it, and we'll make sure our guys know that even though they're 1 and 2, that means nothing. They're coming in here for a win, and once again, they're a physical football team, you know, and they'll come in here and you know, they'll try to pound the ball, and if that opens up for them, then it'll be a long day for us if they can run it on us.
A lot of your colleagues coached against them last year, shared a title with them. What have you heard from those guys the last couple of days?
What I just said, they're big and physical, and so that didn't help me out any hearing that from them. But you know, but you watch film, and you know, once again, that front is big. You know, they're well coached. The quarterback is a big guy. He keeps a lot of plays alive with his feet, and you know, the key to this game is going to be us being gap sound and tackling.
You look at you know, you guys are tied for 6th in the country in sacks. This offensive line has given up one the entire season. What challenges are they going to present?
It's a reason, you know, that so I need to be very of when we bring it, you know, of when to bring the pressure and not get guys upfield, you know, and hand him a lane to run through. I think he's a guy, like I said, that he makes a lot of guys miss, you know, because he's tall, he's strong, powerful, he can run well, you know, and so hopefully those sacks will go up for him.
How much of those sacks last week were you bringing it, or how much was it just your guys beating their man, beating on their assignment?
I like to take the credit and say it was all me, and it was a perfect call, but it was our guys making plays, you know, a little bit of both. It was probably more our guys making plays than my perfect call, you know, because to me, I always tell our guys, there is no perfect call. I can make whatever call, and they are the ones that make the defense go. And so I thought it was individual effort up front. You know, to have that many guys up front have that many sacks, I think, is their you know, effort. You know, and I get a credit. Like I said, it's always easy for me to say it's all about me, but you know, as far as the staff, Coach Avalos, Coach Caldwell, Coach Brown, you know, they helped me out a lot as far as that up front stuff, and you know, our games and stuff like that. You know, and then when you add on Coach Houghton, Coach Smith, all those guys have played the game, you know, so they helped me out a lot as far as understanding that front, you know, and getting that stuff straight.
Looked like the weight room helped Dante out on that takeaway.
You want to believe that? I think so. That was probably, what, a 50-pound difference, right? At least a 50-pound difference, because I was a big, strong guy. But, hey, I'm glad he made the play. You know, he did a good job of understanding. I was bringing some heat. It was cover 0. I had my eyes closed because it was a call that I was going, I hope this works. And then when I look up, he has the ball, and he scored. So it worked out in my favor that time.
I think it was the pick by Moxie, and it seemed like they'd been kind of picking on him a little bit. He had had little struggles earlier in the game.
Right. That was huge for him. You know, one of the plays that looked like he was beat wasn't actually his fault. You know, and so, you know, he's out there in a spot where if a guy catches the ball, it's going to always look like it's his fault. But, you know, what I needed to do after the punt hit us and they scored, that was a bad call on me to put him in that position, I thought. You know, I wish I had that call back because I could have helped him out a little bit. But for him to get that interception, I think was great for our team, but for just him, you know. And that's a position right there that, you know, the more plays you make, the better you are, and the better you are, it's just going to keep working for you. So, you know, he's a guy that's made some plays for us.
I mean, you think there'd be some carryover from that to go out there and, you know, Harsh called that a confident play to jump that route,
Right.
And you know, take that confidence and maybe propel him forward a little
Right.
bit?
I think so. You know, and the whole thing about the route is he really didn't jump it. You know, he actually played the way he was being taught. You know, he turned, eyes was on the man, he drove on the man, he got his eyes back at the right time and then just undercut it. So he actually did what he was being taught. So his whole thing is to just do what you're being taught, and, you know, he'll be a good player. He gets in trouble, you know, when he tries to do his own thing, I think, at times. You know, have bad eyes at times. But he's a guy that if he does what he's been taught by Coach Brown, you know, he can be a dominant corner for us.
What do you like about him as a corner?
His upside. You know, he's still young, and so he's a guy that's just going to continue to get better for us. You know, and he's getting thrown in there. I mean, you know, he's under the fire. You know, and it's easy for us today to say he's getting picked on and all that, but, you know, I've coached a lot of guys that are playing, you know, are playing that early in their career, you know, have some hard times. But, you know, he'll learn from it. He'll get better.
How much, you know, I know you kind of hinted to this a number of times, but how much do you truly, you know, put on those cornerbacks to do
It varies. Early, probably a lot more than probably I should have, you know. But the key is to stop the run. Our goal is to stop the run. You know, if you just look at the average numbers, that, you know, it's easy for him to just hand it off to a back and let him run. That's the easy part. So our thing is we want to stop the ball and make the quarterback beat us throwing the ball, which now you're talking about timing, you're talking about drops, you're talking about us getting upfield, you know, getting heat on them. So that won't change as far as our style.
The tackles for loss, I think you guys lead the country in that. I mean, I guess it's common sense, put them in, you know, second and long, third and long.
Right.
But how does that help, and how nice has it been to see, you know, at 31 or whatever in 3 games?
That's great, you know, and like he's, you know, and once again, you know, I keep saying this, if we go back and we take away 2 quarters, you know, of 12 quarters of football, you know, it's a different story. And so I think our guys just need to understand that in order to be dominant, you have to play 4 full quarters, you know, and out of 12 quarters, you know, we played 10 of them well, you know, and 2 of them we didn't play well. So our main thing is just finishing.
Each game so far this year, there's been you know, they've scored on you guys with a linebacker kind of dropping over the middle, and they're just kind of, I mean, they've been nice throws or whatnot on
Right.
their parts. Is that, I guess, who is that on? Is that just kind of an example where you said guys are just kind of
Every week has been somebody different, you know. The one thing, though, I will say this is the one thing you don't want as a coordinator is you don't want the ball caught over the middle of the field. And so whether it was blown coverages or bad coverage or bad eyes, whatever it may have been, most of the time the defenses are set up for guys not to catch balls over the middle of the field. So, you know, we got those fixed, I think. I thought the one, I was in cover 2, and the one that they scored this past week, I thought that was a good ball. I thought that was a great ball he threw, you know, and they're going to make plays. You know, I ran a whole lot of cover 2 that game, and they kind of got me there in the red zone. But, you know, I actually thought he was going to pick the ball off, you know, because he was in position to make a play. So, you know, but that I can live with because at least we had somebody right there on them. The ones that are hard to swallow when a guy is wide open and there's nobody covering him, you know. And that happened the first 2 games where you had a guy just running down the middle of your defense, you know, wide open. Now that's a problem for everybody, you know.
With that defensive line, you know, I can't exactly remember in years past, but I felt like there was a 1 and 2 rotation. Now it really feels like you guys, after the starters are out there for the first series, they really collaged those guys in there. How do you guys kind of go about that? Do you need to be aware of, you know, who's playing with who, or do you just expect everybody to kind of step up and do the same? Or?
That's on Coach Caldwell. You know, he kind of handles it according to, you know, how those guys are feeling. You know, we kind of go into a game with at least eight guys that we feel like can help us play, you know, because of injuries. And just over the past, going back to Coach K, we always felt like, you know, you need to have your front fresh. And so, you know, that's kind of our goal, just to keep our front fresh, and so we're always charging.
Would you set a precedence defensively on stopping the run? I mean, because it seems like a lot of the scores you let happen on that passing.
Passes.
Something you take a lot of pride in is limiting run, especially Colorado State was a good team.
Right,
Using a
stop
lot
the
of
run.
damage.
Yeah. I set a precedence on them both, actually. But yeah, you know, our key is just to stop the run. And, you know, once again, I think if you look at the numbers that when teams win games, if you're able to stop the run, you know, the chances of you winning that game are pretty good. And so, to me, we want to force that quarterback to throw the ball. Thank you. Yep.